Oh, hi. Welcome to my crib. My biggest fear was that the transplant was going to kill me. We're going to start over here with my walk-in closet until we get into the main foyer where we have my pole. Her name is Penelope. She's really decked out right now. I just really wanted to do as much as possible because of that little thought in the back of my mind, like what if this is my last shot? What if this is the last time?
Happy birthday, Hannah and Amanda!
That was pretty much my number one priority, was trying to do things and act like and experience things that a normal 21-year-old would have.
Party in the back!
Amanda first shared her story with us in 2024.
Trying to take control of any aspect that you can, and also knowing that, like, it's a unique experience. It's not an awesome experience, but it's a unique one.
Her radiant personality resonated with millions. Now she's back to share the story of her relapse.
I was diagnosed with stage 4 Hodgkin lymphoma in May of 2021 and then again in December of 2024. I first had a bunch of different symptoms my junior year of high school, which led to the diagnosis when I was just finishing my junior year. I went through 6 months of chemo and was in remission, but then when I was a junior in college, I had a scan that showed my relapse. Since then, I have done immunotherapy, a few rounds of chemo, a stem cell transplant, froze my eggs, and now currently in immunotherapy maintenance treatment.
When we shared Amanda's story the first time, she showed no evidence of disease. She was adjusting to life back at Baylor.
I fought, and I lived, and I'm doing great, and I have my life now, but was just definitely grieving a lot of grieving my old life, grieving friends who have passed, and all the things, working through a lot of survivor's guilt.
Amanda's cancer came back at an unexpected time.
I had a really bad habit of saying, oh, when my cancer comes back instead of if my cancer comes back. And that was a me problem. That wasn't an anyone else problem. My doctor had told me, if this is gonna come back, it will happen within the first 2 years. And so after I hit the 2-year mark, I thought I was home free. I was like, I'm chilling, we're good.
The first time, Amanda was a teenager facing the unknown. The second time, she was a young woman who had an idea of what was coming.
I knew I had relapsed before any doctor, any scan, any blood work. I had noticed in early November of my junior year that I had been losing weight. And I know my body very well. I don't lose or gain weight very easily. I went to my oncologist about it and asked, because that was really just about my 3-year mark. I was going in for blood work, and they're like, let's see how this goes. And that came back completely normal. And he was like, well, if you're still a little on edge about it, if you're still a little nervous, we can schedule a scan. And it was literally a couple days later, I was like, yeah, I want the scan. Deep down, I had a gut feeling, I knew it was back. I was literally terrified. Not even that weight loss was a first symptom for me in the beginning, but just that I knew a lot about my kind of cancer. I'm like, Hodgkin's, a really big first symptom is weight loss, unintentional, within a couple of months losing somewhere in the double digits. And so, yeah, and my doctor, he was really great in letting me choose what I do in order for me to just have that reassurance. He's like, if you want a scan, we can get you a scan. I can sit here and tell you that you don't need one, but it's ultimately like your choice. You are the adult in the situation. It is your body. I was at a final for my communications class. We were doing our final presentations. I just finished presenting. I got back to my seat and I like open up my laptop and I see that I had gotten a notification from my chart. My heart sank. My heart was racing. Like I literally could not breathe. And then I got home and I called my mom and I was like, okay, I have the results. I'm gonna open those up and read them out loud to you. And literally just read, um, likely relapsed disease. These tumors in this places, they're like 4 centimeters by like 5 centimeters, and there's like one here and one here and one here. And I literally just like I I didn't cry at first. I was literally just in shock. And so was my mom. We were like, "Wait, what? Are you kidding? Are you kidding me right now? This is what we're reading? That's crazy." I bring my laptop and I walk across the hall to my roommate's room and I just like look at them and I go, "It's back." And then that was when I started crying, and just the rest of that day was spent in my roommate's bed and just talking through what the next steps were. I called my old nurse because she had ended up leaving at that point. I called her and she was like it's gonna be okay, like it'll be okay. And I'm like, I need to contact my doctor. And I was like, I don't have his personal cell phone number. She was like, I do. Let me call him. So then he calls me and he was like, I'm so sorry. Like, you were not supposed to find out like this. Um, but it is back. You do have cancer again. And the rest of that day, my parents came and like that was really hard to see them. And then the rest of the day, I feel like I really was just in survival mode. I booked a hair appointment. I was like, I am bleaching my hair. I am going platinum blonde.
Oh God, look at it. It's perfect.
Because I don't care how damaged my hair is anymore. I've spent the last 3 years growing it out. I was like, I don't care anymore. I'm gonna bleach it. I think the first time I was diagnosed, I was naive. I did not know what the future held. I did not know I didn't know what I was going to go through. I didn't know how it was going to affect me. I didn't know how chemo felt. And so I didn't know like how I would look bald and like all these things. Like I just didn't know. Whereas the second time, I knew exactly what was going to happen. I know how much chemo sucks. I know how painful the grow out hair phase is. Like I know what it feels like to not have an appetite or how awful mouth sores are and just like all of these things. Like now I already know. So I was filled with more dread and fear, and especially with like the stem cell transplant just like looming over my head. I've been told pretty much since day one, like if this ever comes back, you will get a stem cell transplant. And so just having that now looming over my head, it was a lot more dread and a lot more fear the second time around.
Refusing to let the relapse dictate her life, Amanda took control and made a pivotal choice.
I had been saying for a long time, as like a 17, 18, 19-year-old, I was going to the adult hospital and I hated it. I literally despised that place. There's lots of bad memories there. Everyone there is generations older than me. I didn't really feel seen or understood. There was a lot of things that like my doctor wouldn't really think about. Like they're not thinking about how the chemo is going to affect my pulmonary function 40 years down the line.
She's back. Yeah.
And so I had said from very early on, especially after meeting so many friends online who had been at children's hospitals, that I was like, if I ever relapse, I'm moving hospitals. I'm going to the children's hospital if I still can. I ended up switching to the children's hospital, and so got a whole new care team. Looking back, I'm so glad that I did. And so those doctors were like, no, like, wait, slow down. You have time. Like, Hodgkin's is thankfully a very slow-growing disease.
Even at a children's hospital, Amanda had to make mature decisions. First, to freeze her eggs.
I was grateful that I had the time and I had that kind of option. I know that is not the option for everyone, and that I am definitely in the lucky few that's able to do this. It was really a no-brainer to do it at least once. I did the first round of freezing, and we'll see, like, okay, like how many we can get. I knew my egg supply was not at 100% because of my previous treatment, but we knew it was still there. And so I did the first round, and I believe we got 7 eggs. And then they were like, let's not jump to chemo if we don't have to yet. Like, let's start with something that might work first. And so we started with immunotherapy. I did a couple rounds of that. Ended up getting secondary opinions at MD Anderson, and so I was bouncing between Children's and MD Anderson. I did immunotherapy for a little bit. It worked, but not as well as we wanted, and so that was a really hard scan, and then immediately ended up doing the Nevo ice chemo that my doctor had wanted to do previously, but did luckily only had to do 2 rounds of that, and then was in remission and able to go into my stem cell transplant, which I had done at MD Anderson because they had a little bit different of a regimen. But now I'm back at Children's doing my immunotherapy. So it's been a lot of just like bouncing around, a lot of different decisions, a lot of different opinions.
Amanda was set to do an autologous stem cell transplant, meaning she would use her own healthy stem cells to replace bone marrow that had been destroyed by high-dose chemotherapy.
I was terrified. I was fully terrified. Pretty much the only word I can think of is absolutely terrified. Talked a lot about it with my therapist and how terrifying that was going to be. There was a lot of unknowns. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know how I was going to react. My doctor literally told me, we're pretty much going to bring you as close to death as possible and then save you. My stem cell doctor, I think, did a decent job preparing me for what to expect. And I was like, okay, this is real, and this is coming up. And so it was really just I want to get this done as soon as possible, because the sooner I can get it done, the more time I have to recover until the fall semester. Because the goal from the second I was diagnosed, through treatment, through chemo, through the stem cell transplant, was getting back to school that August. And I was like, I just need to be able to get back to school in August and everything will be okay. And so, just having like a goal, I think, helped. I was forced to stay home that spring semester. That was really hard. I didn't realize how hard it was going to be. I drove back and forth as much as possible. Every time I went into the clinic, they would ask, like, are you going to Waco this weekend? I was like, yeah, I am. Yes, I am. And so just like, I just wanted to be back, and it's like, it's my senior year, and just having my independence like stripped away from me after not even having it that long, just stripped away from me without any choice in the matter. I think it really just gave me a good goal and really something to look forward to through such a difficult time. I just really wanted to be back with my friends, get back on track with classes and all of these things to kind of just continue moving forward in my life. The weeks and months leading up to the transplant, it was a lot of impulsivity and a lot of just trying to enjoy everything as possible, because I mean my biggest fear was that the transplant was going to kill me. Like, that was what kind of loomed in the back of my mind.
Amanda was taking control of her life as much as she could, and that included doing something she did with her first diagnosis.
Yes, queen.
A head shaving party.
So I immediately texted all of my friends and I was like, I am on my way to Waco and we are going to have a buzz party like tonight because I'm getting chemo tomorrow. Like, this happened within like 48 hours, and pretty much, actually, yes, every single person I texted was there, which was like so awesome that they were literally all able to drop everything that they were doing and be there for me, which was really kind and a really, really awesome memory for a not so awesome occasion. But I mean, my friends, we went and we got bleach and we got hair ties and we got scissors and we went and we got a cake. The cake said "In my Britney era," to commemorate my buzz cut.
Damn, I messed up. We gotta go bald, fam.
The transplant itself was pretty successful. I got a central line, did a bunch of chemo to knock out everything, and then got my stem cells. And that whole process wasn't that bad. But truly, so much of it is a blur. I think my brain has tried to block out so much of it. There were definitely a lot of tears. I remember having like sores in the corner of my eyes from crying so much. I was really just in and out of sleep. I was talking nonsense according to my parents. Not really keeping much down, not really eating a lot, not really moving a lot. Did my best, but it was truly the recovery that was the hardest part. And I would say like about like day plus 3 or 4 all the way up to like day plus 30 were the hardest. They were unbearable, honestly. It was a lot of me, like my parents being like, okay, Amanda, like let's walk to the couch today. And I think it was really just a mix of me being just very like depressed and hopeless that like I will never gain my strength back, but also just I am so exhausted, I am so broken down, like no, I can't. It was rough to get to day 100. It was the longest and hardest 100 days of my life. And so, and a lot of time in bed. Pretty much all day was spent in bed, asleep, would get up, walk a couple laps around the living room. I used shopping as exercise. I would go and I would walk around the store. And I mean, that got me out of the house, that got me out of bed, that got me a little bit of normalcy through like this summer that everyone else I knew were studying abroad. They were doing their internships. They were traveling with their families and like all the things. And so seeing all of that on social media, and then I'm looking forward to going to Target for 45 minutes today and stuff like that, was kind of how I spent pretty much those 100 days was summer, because I got my transplant on May 29th and my 100 days was September 6th. Getting back to school was awesome. It was, I think, a week and a half into school starting was my 100 days. And then the party was epic. It was so fun. It was so awesome. There were decorations. We had a ton of balloons. We catered food. I want to say there was like 60-ish people in attendance, a mix of like hometown friends, my parents' friends, and family friends. A couple of other cancer survivors were there, which was really cool. Right now, I am doing maintenance treatments of an immunotherapy every 3 weeks. I go into the Children's Hospital and get that infusion, and then I am going back to MD Anderson for scans every 6 months. I think what I've learned the most is that I can literally do anything. Really, whenever like things kind of come my way, I'm like, okay, nothing that comes my way will ever be harder than what I went through this year. Nothing will be worse. Like, nothing will be as hard. Like, if I can get through a stem cell transplant and fully recover from it, I can take my Spanish final on Friday. Like, it just makes everything else feel so not unimportant, but less daunting. I'm just grateful and honored to be able to do things and be able to go to those social events and to be able to hang out with my friends and be able to just do all these super fun things. Like, I'm not canceling. I am not having things stress me out. I've really learned also how amazing my friends in my community are. Just growing closer and spending so much time with my sister and my parents and my brothers. I think one of the coolest things that I've been able to do with my diagnosis is share my story. Okay, I just recently lost my eyebrows from chemo. I have like 3 hairs left on each side, but I just ordered the temporary tattoo eyebrows off of Amazon, and we're gonna see how that goes. When I was first getting diagnosed, I was trying to look through for other people having the same symptoms as I was, and that is when I found the patient story. And I was like, oh my gosh, this girl on this random blog 5 years ago was having the same symptoms that I am. Like, yes, she has cancer. I don't want cancer, but if that's the answer, that's the answer. Like, there's nothing I can do about it. And so then being able to share my story and hopefully help people in a similar way that the patient story helped me in that moment was also like super full circle and really, really cool.
As a cancer survivor myself, Amanda, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. If you're curious about her first diagnosis, we've queued up that story here. And please make sure you subscribe here to join the patient story community, where we're humanizing cancer one story at a time and always reminding people you're never alone.